Okay, so the Sennheiser Momentum 5 is here and it comes in at $400. The Momentum 4 already sounded pretty good, but it wasn't that great at some of the other things that noise canceling headphones are supposed to be good at. And so with the Momentum 5, the promise here is that they've leveled up some of these other things to do with noise canceling headphones that people seem to care about, like noise canceling. Shocker, that one. And they have made some meaningful improvements to this platform, which I will talk about in this video. But after doing my extensive testing here with this headphone, it's not so straightforward to say that this is the obvious choice over other products that are similarly priced, like the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2, which I'll be comparing it to in this review as well. So in this video, I'm gonna break it all down for you guys, the pros, the cons, the highlights, the flaws, and everything else to do with the Sennheiser Momentum 5. Let's get going. Okay, quick disclaimer here. Sennheiser sent this unit in for a review. Big thanks to Sennheiser for sending it in. Of course, I haven't been paid to say anything particular about it, and all thoughts and opinions here are my own as usual. So this is a very similar look and feel and design and wearing style as the Momentum 4 and the HDB 630. In fact, this is very similar to the HDB 630. I find it more comfortable than the Momentum 4. But it has similar design traits to it, and actually it looks rather similar to the Momentum 4 as well. As far as the things that I like about it, I love the way this looks. I mean, both the HDB 630 and the Momentum 5 look incredible to me. I like the way they did this top headband piece with this sort of textured, almost cloth-like material up top. It's not really cloth-like, but it's just sort of textured feeling. It's nice. It feels nice in my hands. So I like the way this looks and feels, and I like the general mechanical design of this series, apart from one little thing, which is that there's nothing really to center these headphones on your head or keep them in place. So you can kind of wear them asymmetrically if you wanted to, and sometimes you end up wearing them asymmetrically without realizing it, and this can actually impact the channel matching and the sound. The only real differences between something like this and the HDB 630 is the cosmetic, the aesthetic of it all. Like, for example, the HDB 630 uses silver yokes and a slightly different depiction of the Sennheiser logo on the side of the headband, and a different top headband texture to it. It's more of like a leather material on top of the HDB 630, where it's more this cloth-like material on the Momentum 5. Additionally, there's a subtle difference to the cups. The HDB 630 has this little indentation on the side of the cup, and you do also see how they've integrated the microphones a bit differently on the Momentum 5, where those are harder to see on the HDB 630. But apart from that, as I keep saying, you can tell they're using the same tooling for these two platforms. As far as what I don't like about this, I wish the cups were a little bit bigger, same as the HDB 630, and I wish there was a bit more headband padding underneath. But personally, I don't have that much of an issue wearing this headphone for long periods of time. I can get through a full day of work wearing this headphone. What I find most annoying is that my ear does touch the inside of the baffle, and it does kind of scrunch it a little bit. But that's the same with basically all ANC headphones. The exception is maybe with something like the Focal Batiste. So when I wear this headphone, just like with the others in this series, it's comfortable, it looks good, at least the headphone looks good. And I have no real issues other than, yeah, my ear does touch the inside of the baffle. It kind of like compresses it a little bit, but that's just par for the course. Now, one of the key highlights for the Momentum 5 over the Momentum 4 and the HDB 630 is that the ANC Performance here is much better. So the microphone array that they've implemented with this headphone is significantly better than before, and the active noise canceling is now more competitive with the other class-leading headphones. Like the HDB 630's ANC was okay, and it wasn't as good as the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 or the Sony WH-1000 XM6. I still feel the Sony is the best at noise canceling, and that's also in part to do with the cup design. But as far as just using this headphone out and about, I have a hard time saying that there's any meaningful benefit for ANC for any of the other competitors that are out there. And if you really care about active noise canceling, this would be a reason to consider the Momentum 5 over the HDB 630. The stated battery life for the Momentum 5 is just under 60 hours with ANC on. You can get through many flights with this headphone, and in a way, between the HDB 630 and the Momentum 5, if you are primarily getting one of these headphones for travel, the Momentum 5 may actually make more sense. And it's now competitive with the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 as the travel option. Think of it like that. Now, the way the ANC works here is you have adaptive and custom. Custom is how you get the strongest amount of attenuation. Adaptive is probably the one that you would want to use more often. And you do also get a wind cut filter here. I was able to test this. It works great. you can take this mountain climbing and you won't have any problems. You probably shouldn't take this mountain climbing, but you could. Now, the Momentum 5 also has an upgraded ambient mode where everything around you sounds a lot more natural if you want to enable that. I don't personally use this feature that often, but if you're somebody who really does care about that, this should be better than what they had on the Momentum 4. The Momentum 5 also has Dolby Atmos available if you care about this feature for immersive audio. At the time of filming this, they don't have the head tracking implemented yet, so that's something that they have promised with a future firmware update. They also give you an auto or manual power off, which is something these types of devices should have. And lastly, the best thing about the Sennheiser Momentum 5 is this case. This case is awesome because it's got kind of like a little handle built into it, and it's so easy to use and just carry around and just throw it into a backpack, and it's smaller than the other cases that they have, smaller than the case for the HDB 630. It's finally competitive with the Bose case. I mean, the Bose case is still a little bit of a smaller footprint there, just based on the shape of it, and the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 does fold, whereas the Momentum 5 does not. But this case, I feel good holding this. There's something about this where my fingers just go into here. It's like this little handhold. I love it. Now, we have to talk about the sound quality here because... Oh boy. Okay, so the Momentum 4 was already a decent sounding headphone. It wasn't amazing, but it was good, fine. Lots of bass, tons of bass. And the same is true for the Momentum 5. It's a bit overbearing, and I would just say the bass quality for this series has never been great, and it's better on the HDB 630, noticeably better, just going back and forth between the two. It sounds kind of loose, and I'm not going to say bloated because it's mostly focused towards the sub bass, but just overbearing. And on the HDB 630, because there's less sub bass, more of the mid bass and upper bass comes through, and more of the rest of the response comes through, making it have more tonally rich bass or more clear sounding bass, whereas the Momentum 5, just like the Momentum 4, is more of this just thunderous thumping sub bass, which some people may like. I don't prefer that. It's too much for me, but some people might like that. Now, for the mid-range and the treble, the overall balance for this headphone is pretty good. So the mids come through clearly, and the treble comes through with enough crispness without being fatiguing or sibilant. But there are moments where things sound a little uneven. They sound a little bit, dare I say, incoherent. And I find just going back and forth with the HDB 630, the HDB 630 is notably cleaner sounding for the mid-range overall. Not massively, and they're pretty close overall in terms of the type of sound signature that you get, but it's just that there are moments, there's this edginess to the sound here that doesn't exist for me with the HDB 630. So let's move over to the B&K 5.28 data here, and this is where I'm also going to be showing you the data from DMS's unit. So DMS is also reviewing this headphone. If you are not subscribed to DMS at this point, what are you doing? He regularly provides some of the most insightful headphone and IEM content. So I'll leave his channel linked in the description and you can get his perspective on this as well. But we've been sharing our data back and forth here because we each have a unit of this headphone and we both use the B&K 5.28 for the measurements that we do. You can see the responses here are largely similar, with each of us doing roughly 10 seedings per channel. I'd say this is decent unit consistency for these types of devices, but you can see there are a couple of differences still throughout. So unit variation is always going to be a factor when it comes to differences in impressions. Which one is more representative is really hard to say. So maybe this is something that Sennheiser can let us know in the comments, because I know you guys are going to be in there. So looking at how this unit performs, you can see that it's got tons of sub bass, but with most of the other features falling within the bounds. There's a slightly forward character to around 3 kHz, but I wouldn't say this headphone sounds overly shouty. So it's a bit V-shaped, but it's mostly focused towards the bass and sub-bass. Now, it looks like the upper treble falls off a cliff, but that's likely just how it's behaving on this particular head and ears. When we move over to the on-head human data, which I'll show you in a moment, this doesn't really occur. When comparing ANC on with ANC off, you can see that there are some subtle differences with the sound quality, with ANC on giving a bit more mid-range and ear gain clarity. Compared to the Momentum 4, both have strong bass and sub-bass, but the Momentum 5 has a more filled-in upper mid-range and lower treble. So if you're adding that much sub-bass to the sound, you need to have extra presence and clarity in this region, otherwise it's going to sound muffled and muddy. Compared to the HDB 630, you can see the HDB 630 goes for a more reserved presentation. That's also smoother across the board, so it's less intense, less vivid, but also more refined, so there are fewer colorations going on here throughout the mid-range. Like, the sound quality here is okay, but it's not as good as the HDB 630. Compared to the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2, the Bose has more bass overall, just not as sub-bass focused for the bass. And surprisingly, it's got a more balanced mid-range throughout the rest of the response once custom tune is primed. So that's the key with the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2. Let's move over to the on-head data. So what we've done here is we've used in-ear microphones to effectively turn our heads into headphone measurement rigs. And if you're wondering what the process for that, there's a video here you should watch. But in short, this shows us exactly how these headphones are performing when being worn by real human heads. So when I say it measures like this, but I hear it like that, it's no longer a vibes-based thing. I can just show you that. So let's do that. And this is also, again, with ANC on. There's tons of bass, as I keep saying. There's a little bit of wibbly-wobbly mid-range going on here in the mids and upper mids, and then you get some rocky treble. And this is what I was talking about before, where there's just a little bit of edginess to certain tones. And unfortunately, this is not something that you can just improve with the app because they do not give you parametric EQ with the Momentum 5. And that is a shame. So what is parametric EQ and why does this matter? Parametric EQ lets you change literally whatever you want about the sound quality, while a fixed band EQ limits you to just those frequency ranges specified by the manufacturer, with a preset width for the filter adjustments. So say you have like a massive resonance on your head for a particular headphone, parametric EQ will let you notch that out. Whereas with a fixed band EQ, you're going to have a much harder time doing that or not be able to do it at all. So parametric EQ is the good one, fixed band EQ is the bad one. And with the Momentum 5, you get fixed band EQ. Now, I've been told this is actually down to a hardware difference, so it's not a matter of just flipping a switch or one being intentionally crippled while the other one is not, to carve out a different space within the market or justify a higher price tag. The HDB 630 was apparently designed with PEQ in mind, while the Momentum 5 was not. But be that as it may, I'd still like to see parametric EQ in all of these devices. As far as the things that you might want to adjust because of the on-head performance differences that you might be getting on a person-to-person basis, you don't have the flexibility with the Momentum 5 to be able to fix those things where you do on the HDB 630. If you really care about sound quality and you know you're going to get into parametric EQ, I do feel it's worth it to spend the extra $100 on the HDB 630 over the Momentum 5. The reason to get the Momentum 5 would be if you really love this platform, you love this Sennheiser sound, and you just want better ANC than what the Momentum 4 was going to give you, or even the HDB 630. Then that's what this headphone is for. But I think the problem here is that the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 also exists. It's only $50 more, and it's rather compelling. This is probably the most difficult comparison, the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 and the Momentum 5, because you have good ANC on both. They're both comfortable. The Momentum 5 has better build quality. It also has way better battery life. It also has a lot more customization to the sound. You have an 8-band EQ, whereas on the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2, you only have 3 bands. But the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 has custom tune. What people might not realize is headphones behave very differently from head to head, and Bose has identified this as a problem and figured out a way to snapshot the ear response and then compensate for it for every person. So when you put the headphone on, you turn it on, it goes brung, and then it reads that tone and then compensates accordingly. The Sennheiser doesn't have anything like that. It made sense to me to still get the HDB 630 over the QC Ultra Gen 2 because you could fix more. Remember, the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 doesn't have the snapshotting effect for the entire ear response. It's a very specific part of the response that this is snapshotting and compensating for. With the HDB 630, you get a lot more granular control to fix basically everything, or all the things that you would need to fix. And with the Momentum 5, you don't get either of those things. I can kind of affect 7 kilohertz, but it's such a wide filter that it brings everything down, right? And maybe I don't want to bring everything down, I just want to fix that one resonance on my head. So between the Sennheiser Momentum 5 and the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2, it's a rather difficult choice. I can see an argument for either one of them, but I think personally my money's probably going to go more towards the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2. But that's just what I think. As it happens, I took both of these headphones on a trip recently, and I had a number of friends who were there with me try them out to see which ones they liked better. So let's hear what they say.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, typical Sennheiser sound.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a little biased. I do like the Sennheiser signature, I guess, somewhat V-shape.
Yeah. So you'd say you have experience with Sennheiser's headphones
yes,
before?
Yes, yeah. I have both the Momentum 2 and the 4.
Okay.
So I do. I am kind of a Sennheiser fan, so might be biased. Um, but yeah, it was the so when Adaptive was on, I felt like it had more. For some reason, maybe it's because of the feeling that you're cut off.
Yeah.
That you can almost feel the sub bass a bit more. But
Right.
all in all, still really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like the kind of music that you like, is this the right kind of
Yes.
signature?
Yeah. For the music I like, which is more like hip hop or
Okay.
like funk or like kind of amapiano stuff, where it's like kind of a heavy bass and
Yeah.
that kind of leaning towards that. But I
Okay.
feel like the mids are still there. It's not getting too drowned out, so
Okay.
I like the balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's try the
Uh,
Bose.
This is definitely, I think, improved from. I have the last QC was the QC 35, like the original.
That's a older
The older model. Yeah. Is that what this is supposed to be?
This is the QC Ultra Gen 2.
So there's a Gen 1.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar with it. Definitely more premium than the QC 35. So
Yeah. How's the comfort?
comfort is actually good. It's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I feel like the ANC is better in this though.
Yeah. How did you? I know we talked about it before, but if you could give to camera, like, how did you find the ANC with the waves?
The ANC was good with the waves. I wouldn't say it's as strong as these for sure. The anti-wind though was very impressive with these, especially since we were at the beach
Yeah.
basically.
It was
waves.
windy. Yeah.
And it was really windy. With the music playing, it did feel like, as I said before, if you close your eyes, you wouldn't know where you were. You would have thought you were just at home listening to music or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Wow. This is flat. It's flat right now.
It's without any adjustments. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
What do you think?
I think these ones sound better. These ones sound better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you play with the EQ, I think it can get to that. If you like the sub bass stuff, I think
Yeah.
this can definitely satisfy those needs. It's nice. It's nice. It's
right?
actually really nice.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Given some of the trade-offs we talked about like how the battery life's better on them.
Wait, well, how many hours are we talking
So
about?
the Sennheiser has almost twice as much battery life.
Twice. Like,
Yeah.
so, like, how many? 20?
I think it's it said on the sheet 57 hours, and this one's closer to like 30. And then
Oh, man.
but the ANC is still slightly better on this, as you noted. Yeah.
I did find the ANC was better here. Comfort, I would say, at least for my ears and head, they're about equal.
Yeah.
Um,
Build quality.
build quality is close. Actually, I find this, for some reason, I find this leather was nicer
Yeah.
than the Sennheiser one.
If someone were to hand you either one, which one would you pick?
That's just for free.
Yeah, if someone
Bose.
was, you take the Bose.
I'd
Yeah.
take the Bose.
So it converts you from being a Sennheiser fan to.
Hate to admit it, yeah. I hate to admit it, but yeah, I think so.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's nice. Just make sure it's charged, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, honestly, these sound really good.
Yeah.
Damn.
Cool. All right. Thanks. Okay, so you got a sense of that one? Yeah.
Yes. So I really like it. I think the noise canceling is great. I can't hear the environmental noises at all. The bass is also fairly hard hitting, which is really nice. So I'm currently an AirPods Pro 2
The good ones.
user, and I do really like those. I think that they balance out the sound really nicely, and they're very portable just for traveling everywhere. So I think these ones, in terms of the sound quality, I do really like the bass. I do really like the noise canceling.
How's the
And
comfort?
they're also fairly light. I wear a lot of earrings. I have many piercings. And a lot of headphones. I think I can feel it kind of dig into the piercings a little bit. And I find that this one doesn't really press that much because I'm such an Apple fan. I've had the AirPods Max, and I had a really hard time with that one because it would just really sandwich your face. So I do really appreciate that these are a lot lighter.
Yeah.
And I think they're super portable just for on-the-go use.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Let's try these.
Okay. First impressions, I really like the adjustments. I think it's a lot smoother. in comparison to the Bose ones I just tried. And I think in terms of the sound quality, I would say the bass doesn't hit as hard as the Bose for the song that we're playing. We're playing the same song. But I will say I prefer the balance of the music that's coming from this one. So all in all, it's also very portable. I think if I had to pick between the two, I would pick this trusty Sennheiser. I do like the Bose, but I think something about the matte and the single color tone is really nice.
Which one did you find more comfortable?
I think they're both similar. I do like this one has more of a weight to it. I think that the Bose ones are a little bit lighter. So I think in terms of long-term comfort, say if I was like on a plane, the Bose might fare better, I think, for long wear. The Sennheiser, I do like the sound quality of it more, but I can feel the weight of the headphones on my head.
And compared to your AirPods Max?
Well, the AirPod Maxes were very heavy. I think they were the heaviest of these three.
Yeah.
Okay. So these ones, like I do feel more of the bass, whereas with these ones, like there's a lot more. I can hear a lot of the vocals and like the instruments. The bass isn't as heavy. But this one I do feel the percussion more.
Yep.
I find these are more comfortable. Like
The Sennheiser are more comfortable?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Which one, if somebody just said, here, pick one of these, which would you take?
In terms of the sound, I do like this, but I also prefer like a punch in the bass. If I was like choreographing, I would tend like the sound I would prefer. But if I'm just like hanging out, like this would be
Almost more like a tool, and that's more just to chill. Compared to what you're using right now, would you use either of these over what you're using right now if you're just listening to music?
I don't really like headphones. I do like
In-ears better, yeah.
Yeah. Just because it's hard to dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to dance with either one of these.
No.
They'd fly off.
This one's like more like balanced. The bass is more pronounced than this one. This one is like you can kind of hear everything a little bit more equally.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, when the bass goes up, the other sounds kind of like decrease. But then this one like feels like nicer on the ear. This like pillows your ear, like it goes around. Whereas this one feels like it like sits on top of your ear, like it's not as like cushy. But like design wise,
already know you like
this
that
is
one.
cuter.
That matters.
Yeah. Because like even look at like this just is, like the round disc, whereas this has more like this is like sexier.
Yeah.
I wanted the sexiest headphone.
That's, yeah.
And like
why I
the
chose
That's what I look
leather-
for in all things, actually. If someone handed you both and it
which one-
said, yeah.
Which one were you gonna choose?
Based on sound?
Yeah.
Yes. Money is not an option.
Based on sound,
obstacle.
probably this one.
Okay.
Only because it's like more
I'm
balanced.
the only one that got. Damn.
But based on looks, like this one.
So which one would you choose?
I mean, I'd be happy with either of them.
Yeah, but if you had to choose,
If I had to choose,
Only one.
what's more important, sound or looks?
probably this one.
There you go. So here's how I think about the Sennheiser Momentum 5. I think it's flat out a better buy than the Sony WH-1000 XM6. Like even with its 10-band EQ, it has some problems that are just not fixable with the response. And the ANC Performance here is now competitive. Like I still think the WH-1006 is better, but it's competitive with the Momentum 5 now, where the Momentum 4 was not. So that's good. And the Momentum 5 is also more comfortable, so I feel like this is just better than the Sony. And I'm going to say basically the same thing compared to the Apple AirPods Max. Like the Momentum 5 kind of mops the floor with the AirPods Max because the AirPods Max is challenging, to say the least, and it's heavy and just unwieldy, and yeah, it could have been great, and it's not. Let's leave it at that. The real comparison, I feel, is between the Momentum 5 and the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2. So here's how I feel about this. If your absolute maximum spend is $400, the Momentum 5 is the obvious choice. If you're upgrading from a Momentum 3, the Momentum 5 is an obvious choice. But if you can spend a little bit more, it is worth looking at both of these two headphones and deciding for yourself what's more important. And if you really value the insane battery life that this gives you, then the Momentum 5 does make sense over the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2. For me though, and for the way that I use these devices, I still prefer to use the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2. I think it's slightly more comfortable. The ANC Performance is good on both, and the sound quality for this one can be competitive with the Momentum 5 once you dive into the app. So the sound quality potential there is still pretty good. And then, if you can spend a little bit more, I think the HDB 630 is just enough better for sound quality, if that's what you care about, that it is worth it. Plus you get the BTD 700, the dongle is very useful, and I feel the HDB 630 just gives you more value for your money. So in my opinion, the HDB 630 is worth the upgrade. Now, on this channel, we like to give rankings out of 10, and we're not doing the whole, compressed scale thing where everything gets at minimum a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give you guys a proper ranking here where we use the full scale to understand the full picture of what sound quality could be. But first, I just want to let you guys know that we do have YouTube memberships available. So if you want to check some of the testing that we do behind the scenes, I have live streams there where I'm basically testing the products that you will watch reviews of. All the revenue from the YouTube memberships goes to support the content team, and it also supports the content budget, which allows us to purchase headphones to review that we wouldn't otherwise be able to get in. And if you want to have a say in which products we purchase for review, that's also part of the YouTube membership. So consider the YouTube membership. We really appreciate it. So for my ranking out of 10 here, I believe I gave the HDB 630 a 5.4 out of 10. The Bose QC Ultra, again, default sound signature without any customization to do with the app, because then it's like an endless moving target. The Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 gets a 4.8 because it's just tons of bass and treble. And I feel the Momentum 5 is right in between at a 5.1. And again, if all of this is confusing to you, we have a full rubric there up on headphones.com where we've ranked hundreds of headphones, and you can see where others on our team have ranked these products as well. And with that, that's going to do it for this review. Thanks for taking the time to watch it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.